Hello, good morning. Welcome to our webinar. Thank you for making the time. I hope that you have and you bring with you curiosity about AI and certainly more specifically what it can do in investor relations. As you are probably broadly aware, Edison has launched a training program specifically for investor relations professionals in terms of how to use AI. So what I'm doing here today is I'm going to show you some applications that AI has in investor relations, and then briefly explain a little bit about the training program, how it works, and how it might be relevant to you. So let's start off by saying, why did Edison do this? Is IR ready for AI? Now, look, there is a wide variety of opinion. And as we've been talking to people about AI across the industry, obviously, we've heard many shades of them from some people saying, look, AI and IR simply won't mix, to actually lots of others who have actively embraced it already and are finding that their productivity has been enhanced. Now, back earlier this year, so I'm sure these figures now need quite a bit of updating because obviously AI has been a complete wave that everyone's been talking about, and of course you would have had to have been buried in a cave not to hear about it. So we do know that lots of AI, lots of IRs have of course already tried it. In general, across the corporate world, Microsoft back in the late summer said around 75% of people had tried it at work. But lots of reports, from all the big consultancies have said that AI has yet to fully land in any department, in any team, in most organizations, not all, about between 4 and 13% of organizations, depending upon which set of stats you consider right, have actually adopted AI across multiple departments, and they are reporting gains in productivity and efficiencies and quality and quantity of things that they're doing has improved. But next year is probably the big wave of AI adoption on a corporate level. Everyone's kind of been limbering up. However, having said that, IR magazine earlier this year indicated that even back then, I think it's sort of a March or an April figure, 50% of IROs had either used it regularly or experimentally. And if we're honest, obviously the big majority of that was experimentally. However, AI has matured. It's moved on so much, even in the last 12 months. It's difficult to remember that actually it's almost exactly the 2-year anniversary from ChatGPT 3.5 being released. It feels like it should have been a lot longer. It has only been 2 years, and the last year in particular has been, a big uptake. And that wave is definitely coming next year. So if you haven't started using it regularly in the work in terms of what you do, then there will be increasing pressure to adopt and actually hopefully support. And Edison is very much wants to be part of your support network to make that happen. So again, to answer that question, but why would we? Well, the number one thing to remember is that we're not talking about cutting humans out of the loop. Humans, with the current state of AI and for the foreseeable future, very much need to be at the center of that. Yes, we can see 3, 5, maybe 10 years away where we've got full agent-based AI, where agents might have objectives and they might be able to ask other pieces of AI to go and do the work and coordinate it and effectively be a leader. We are a long way from any of that. At the moment, AI is very much a tool to increase your productivity, to help you produce more, to help you produce actually to a higher quality. It's a tool like PowerPoint. It's a tool like Word. It's a tool like a website like Google. It's just a digital tool. The difference is, rather than just the digital information that we rely upon and the digital information tools that we use today, it's now digital intelligence, and that's the movement we're now on. That's all AI is at the moment. It's not full AI. It can't think for itself. It doesn't have a purpose. But what it does do is it gives you access to a digital intelligence that can help you do your job more effectively. So what that means in terms of IR. Now, look, this is limited by our imagination. Yeah, it can come in and help you with so many tasks, but obviously it helps you craft pitch perfect comms. You can do that much more quickly. You can reduce cost as well. I don't know if any of you use a copywriter or you've got other external suppliers, but what you'll find is AI gives you superpowers. So effectively, I don't generate, I generate my own images now. I used to have a designer who would use a stock shot that was kind of imperfect and obviously a stock shot. And now at 10:30 on a Sunday morning, I can sit in my gym jams and I can generate a fantastic set of images for promotional materials. That reduces cost, not just in terms of I don't need a stock library anymore, but also I don't need to pay a designer. Obviously, for most of us in IR, however, that's very much a side case. Yeah. And perhaps what you'll be using AI for more is to upload lots of documents, all your annual reports, all of your quarterly earnings statements, all of the financial statements, all of the other releases and press releases, financial press releases, the RNSs, etc., that you've released, and use that. Yeah. So you can type in a natural language question and query the database. And get a natural language answer back. In other words, you can start talking to your information, whether your information is in the form of numbers or whether your information is the form of words. Effectively, what AI allows you to do is converse with it in normal, natural language, and it does transform your productivity. It can also even do things like help you identify new pools of capital. And because it saves time, when you're talking to investors, rather than sending out one communication, you can really start to target it, and not just by groups, but personalize. So if from the research that you're going to use the AI to do, you find out that an investor has a particular set of goals, objectives, kind of like, minimum requirements for being, screened within the fund, then you can personalize that message. Yeah. Rather than it taking hours or certainly, a good half an hour to craft the right email, you can do that much more quickly. And also all of your data sets can be analyzed in an instance. Now, of course, AI isn't perfect and you need to make sure that everything you do is checked, but increasingly it's improving to the point where, whilst it may make a mistake here and there, it also, you can show it how to refer where it got the information from. So hallucinations are reducing, mistake levels are also reducing, and that will continue. So it's increasingly a tool that even us IRs in critical roles where our information has to be right, it's increasingly something that we can absolutely rely upon and use, and people already today are. So what I'd like to do next is I'd really like to start to give you a demonstration of the capabilities, because it's not until you really see this stuff in action, using some, using some well-developed prompts, that you'll get a sense for what AI is currently capable of. Because what we've had a lot of, we've had people say, yeah, I've used it. I asked it for something and it kind of sort of worked, but it was a bit meh. I don't think I could have used it in my job. It doesn't really kind of get there yet, does it? And the truth is that that's very much about what you ask it to do. The way that I describe it is, whilst AI is not a human, it is a digital form of intelligence. Nevertheless, because it's been trained on human output, if you treat it as if it were human, like it was a colleague that you're actually talking to, you suddenly make that realization that, if you're asking a colleague to do something, your colleague needs a full brief. You need to say, look, we're doing this. It's for this person or this group of people. The objective is this. We want people to take away this, and this. Please write it in our house style, or write it in a different style. Make sure it's going to be it's going to be a blog for somebody else's website, so make sure it's in the right format, and kind of ties in with what they do. You would write, or you would speak, a really good brief, so you have all of the information. Now, that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. What we're going to do is we're going to take one of Edison's notes. And again, you could take any document. It could be your annual report. It could be your latest report in terms of your quarterlies or your half year or your annual, whatever it is. You could take a different document, any document, and you could do exactly what we're doing here to it today. So what we're going to do, though, is we're going to take a piece of Edison research, because obviously it's one of the many things that we do, and we're going to turn it into a blog post that looks like it's coming from the Games Workshop's CEO. And then from there, Once we've got that blog post done, we're going to turn it into a video script. And we're also going to get the AI to give us an outline of a deck that could accompany the CEO as he talks through the deck. And then we're going to create some LinkedIn posts to promote the video. So we're going from note to blog to video and deck, and then LinkedIn. Now, I don't know about you, but that would normally take me, I'd be looking at that going, that's 3 or 4 days work. That's quite a chunky that's quite a chunky task. I'll be briefing out a team of people and we'll get that done. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm going to show you how quickly we can use AI to do that. But also bear in mind as I demonstrate this, that this is very much just the top of the iceberg. Yeah, this is the very tip of what AI can do. This is very much a sample of its capabilities. And the deeper you get into it and the more you get used to it, you find that tool really opens up. I'm at the point now where I'm using AI, on almost an hourly basis. Certainly, there's very little I do that isn't now in some way, shape, or form augmented by some form of AI. So let's get going. Now, this is a big screen of text, and a lot of people say, well, that's the instruction set you're going to put into ChatGPT. Oh, I just normally write a line or maybe 2 lines. So, yeah, the way to get, as we've just said already, the way to get really good results out of AI is to treat it as a colleague and give it as a brief. So when you're writing your commands or your prompts for any AI, yeah, a really simple rule of thumb is RBS. Yeah, so I remember it as Royal Bank of Scotland. Role, yeah, tell it, you want to tell the AI who it is, who's it emulating. Because what that does is it then narrows down the information it uses to only that type of person, their type of output. It doesn't look at all of this surrounding stuff. And that immediately makes the output much more specific. Brief is then what we've already talked about. You've got to tell it what you want. You've got to describe it. That's really, really important. And then style is normally much quicker. That's the S, RBS. Style is saying how you want the output to sound. So this is an example of an RBS prompt. It's using all of those techniques so that we effectively prime the AI to give us what we want. So I'll very quickly read it through for you. So we say, you are an experienced investor relations officer with expert copywriting skills. You have decades of experience crafting blogs that deliver the very highest rates of interest for Games Workshop, the UK listed company that you work for. You always have 100% accuracy and never make mistakes. So that's the role bit of it. We then go in to tell it the brief. Edison Group has just written a new research note discussing the full year results of 2024 and looking ahead into the future, particularly 2025. You are now going to write a long, detailed blog for the CEO. Now, we use those words long and detailed because even though it's really, really capable, it's not very good at counting words. Yeah, but long and detailed is equivalent to, kind of around about 500, 600 words. So a long detailed blog for the CEO who will publish it under his own name. The blog is about the research piece, which I've attached, and we will attach it to GPT. I'll show you that I've done that. Yeah, please include a link to the blog so you can also see it. And then we go on to say the theme of the blog is how Games Workshop's long-term strategy has delivered long-term success rather than the short-term games. And as we all probably know, obviously it's performed very well on the stock market. And then at the end there, I say, write it in the style of an experienced financial journalist and FD columnist, Robert Shrimsley. And then I give it a link to all of Shrimsley's content from the FT. Now, what I'm going to do here, and just have to bear with me as I switch screens, there may be a short delay. I think you can probably now see I'm over in ChatGPT. And what you can say, because obviously I want to do this quickly and not start searching my computer for all of the relevant content, you can see what I've done here is I've attached the Games Workshop company outlook note, written by one of our analysts, Russell, to my input. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in the text that I just copied from the PowerPoint. Now, the formatting here works again because ChatGPT has been trained on the way that we format things. Yeah. Then it notices paragraphs, it understands sentences. So again, just tidying up, copy and pasting often introduces some extra formatting issues. So just tidying those up before you put it in is really helpful. But without further ado, I've now submitted that. So I've sent it the PDF, I've uploaded it, and now I've sent it the PDF, and I sent it my prompt, and here it comes in terms of the long term, the blog written on the theme that I requested. You can see how quickly that happened. Now, obviously, when it's you and you're doing it, you have to write the prompt, but you'll find that you have, standard stuff that you copy and paste. I've got documents and documents where I just go, I want that one again, and then you tailor it. So again, it becomes really, really quick. It does become kind of like, all of this can be done within minutes. So here's the first draft of the blog. Games Workshop, proof that long-term strategy delivers. Okay, so you've nailed the title. That's exactly what we were trying to say. As we reflect on Game Workshop's recent performance, highlighting Edison Group's latest research, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Our commitment to long-term growth, rather than chasing short-term gains, has borne fruit. Our journey, centered on careful planning and disciplined execution, has led us to where we are today, a company thriving not just in numbers, but in ambition, scope, and market influence. Okay. Not bad as a first. It's very strident. You might not want it that strident. However, it clearly is doing exactly what we asked it to do. Now, the great thing about ChatGPT now is it's got this mode called with canvas, which actually means that you can do so much, right. You don't then have to go, okay, that's fine, I'll take that and edit it. That's what we used to do 3 months ago. They're the bad old days. We've now got editing tools within ChatGPT that allow you to do a lot more work as well. So it will allow you to suggest edits. You can go in there and make some changes. But a key thing that I often use is, we adjust the length. Because again, because it's not, because you can't give it an exact word count yet, I'm sure that will come, you can actually say, well, look, keep the current length, or let's make it longer. So given that we're going to do a video script, let's say, well, let's make it longer. You simply click that. It hasn't quite met the number of words and the length that I was hoping for. We can go into much more detail. Look, straight in the second paragraph there, you immediately notice that it's diving down into the detail of the numbers. This is being written for an investor audience. So this starts to give me, confidence that, all of this detail is being covered. And again, if you guys want to read that, look, it's put the link in as I asked it to. If you guys want to read this later on, of course, we'll make this available so you can have a look at the output. So you've got the length there. You've also adjust reading level. So obviously what it's done is it's taken my instructions and it's like created that reading level based on what Robert Shrimsley likes. But if you say, well, look, actually, I think that, really, let's have let's have an easier to read version. Drag that down, say, oh, it could be middle school length. Let's see what it comes back with. And it immediately becomes more colloquial. And you can see how, those numbers have disappeared. They've got much simpler numbers. They come slightly lower down. So you can see how you can really start to adjust this. And we'll go back up. And we'll then regenerate it, because obviously we don't want a middle school level for our investor audience. We certainly do not want to, kind of underestimate their abilities. Now, once you've done that, what we can then do is we can say, right, we've got the length, it's got the right kind of style of language. Let's add some final polish. And so now what it will go do is it will give us a big title. It will, kind of then put some subsections in. It'll also polish up the language it's used as well. So again, this used to be something you'd have to do yourself. But as you can see, look, it's put in a section about the 5 pillars of success, which was in the original. But effectively now it's given it a much easier, read by putting it into bulleted, but, numbered bullets. And then clearly signposted the story that's being told through the blog with those, with those subheads, even ending in the conclusion. Now, at this point, obviously, this is the point where I would now take it, and you still human in the loop. You're still, this isn't going to be perfect. You're going to want to work it. You're also going to check, the facts and figures. Of course you are. Yeah. But from getting from kind of like a blank sheet where I haven't got anything, I have got a document that I want to base it on. And of course, I could have based it on 2, 3, 4, 5 documents. Yeah. Suddenly, I've actually got a long blog that's appropriate that I can now go in and do some editing on. And maybe that will take me 15 minutes to, 30 minutes to complete this. Whereas previously, this would have taken me, the actual writing of it would have probably taken me, half a day just to get to this point. So I've saved a good 4 hours of my day that I can now go off and do something more profitable. However, obviously, we don't want to end it there. And what we said we were going to do is we were now going to create a script for a video. So again, we're going to. I've written that. Kind of prompt out already. And it says, please use the blog you have written to create a long script for a video. It should be the same structure, arguments, and narrative as the blog. All contents must be drawn entirely from the Edison research you have based the blog on. The CEO will be recording it and using a PowerPoint presentation to help him. Please include suggestions for the slide as part of the script. So let's go and copy and paste that. And we just put that in that box there. And off it goes. So now it's using what it's generated, and because we gave it that final polish within the app, it's able to take the structure of the subheads and start to turn those into slides. And as you can see, it comes up with the introduction, a title, and then what the CEO will say, and then it's got the bullet points, as well as what the CEO script accompanying it that will be on every slide. So we might look at that and say, okay, so it's not each slide needs to, let's say that each slide needs at least one more sentence for the CEO script. Can you also make sure that there are at least 5 bullets on each slide? So, that's the sort of feedback you might give a colleague. Look, great first draft. Thank you for that. However, look, we need to go in a bit more detail. Can you make it a bit longer? And also those slides with 3 points each, they're going to look a bit sparse. So, people want to see stuff as he's presenting. So, whilst obviously the CEO is going to talk, he's going to talk to that and other stuff. Let's make sure we've got quite a lot of detail on the slides as well. So there we go. It then goes through, it writes the script, it gives me the slides all in one. And again, you're going to want to edit this. I could go through the same things. I could, adjust the reading level. I could add final polish. So why don't we do that? And we'll let it do that. As we then go over and sorry, I've been showing you the right. I haven't been showing you the right slide. So sorry, I've been in the wrong tab. So look, what we've done here is we've got the CEO script and we've got the bullet points, and we've got the bullet points there. And so we've now given it a final polish as well. So we're all ready to say, well, we want to promote that now. So the investor relations team will be turning your blog and video script into a series of 3 LinkedIn posts. And you can see where I'm taking this prompt from. Please write these posts, each emphasizing the 3 most interesting parts of the content you have written for the CEO. Decide what's most interesting by taking the perspective of a professional investor seeking to maximize gains in a fund. So we're going to copy this post here. We've also given it a bit of permission to be creative. And there we go. Please give me 3 LinkedIn posts. Let's see what it does with that. So there we go. We've got 3 LinkedIn posts. The first one is about the core of it, financial strategy. What's it done for the second one? Expanding horizons with our 5 pillars. So it's gone then into the Games Workshop 5 pillars. Again, probably quite interesting. And then it's talking about how the community of Games Workshop is its strength. So again, all relevant. You will want to change that. You will want to you will want to work on that. But you can see that we've got the 3 posts, and effectively what just I think would be 2, 3, 4 days work for me and maybe a team of people. Suddenly, yeah, we've got the guts of that in what, if you were doing this by yourself, 15, 20 minutes, and then probably another half day as you work on this and craft this, but massively cutting down the time that it takes to create content. Now, just as a glimpse of the future, there's actually something else I'm going to show you today, which I think is absolutely remarkable. What I've also done is I've uploaded exactly the same note to another application called Notebook LM, which is a Google application. And whilst I don't think this has a practical use in terms of publication yet, internally, this is fascinating. And very soon you will be able to use, when you've got more controls, you will be able to use it. Because effectively what it does is it generates audio based on the note. All I've done is uploaded the note, yeah, and now it will create a podcast style file, yeah, that will talk about it. So I'm fingers crossed that the technology works and you can hear what I'm about to play.
All right, so are you ready to dive into like this whole world of Games Workshop? It's pretty fascinating stuff.
It is.
We're talking like miniatures and huge battles and like this whole company that basically just dominates tabletop gaming.
Yeah.
And we're going to be using this Edison investment research note
Okay.
from October 7th of this year to like really understand how they did it.
Yeah.
How did Games Workshop or GAW, like they're known in the finance world, become like the giant they are today?
Yeah. So I think what's really interesting about Games Workshop is that they have total control over their product.
Huh.
So, like, imagine a company that not only comes up with these worlds and these characters, but also designs, manufactures, and sells every single miniature.
So there we go. It goes on for 12 minutes. But if you wanted to explain Games Workshop to someone, it would be a really good starting point. And you can direct it, you can ask it what to focus on. I didn't. I just uploaded the document and say, hey, give me a podcast based on that. But you can see how these tools, as they develop, are going to be more and more useful and really, impact how much time you can save. So obviously at Edison, we are up to speed with this stuff and we want to share this knowledge. We want to make sure that all of our clients and the IR profession in general can harness these sorts of tools. And again, look, I've just shown you how to generate content. Yeah, there are so many more things it can do. So the first thing, as a research tool, AI is phenomenal. ChatGPT now has a web search built into it, way better than Google, and even better than that is Perplexity. So I no longer use Google unless I actually want to buy something on an e-commerce website or do some banking or use a specific feature and function on a website. Yeah, that's the only time I use Google because I'm looking for a particular website. Other than that, if I am curious, if I have questions, if I'm doing research, I actually use Perplexity. Or if I'm using ChatGPT, I rely on its web function. So, the amount of research you can do, if it's in the public domain and it is available, AI can now use search engines to find it, yeah, and then bring it back to you, not as a series of links where you can go and do your own research, amalgamate everything you found together and write it up. It does all that bit for you. I'm now itching to show you Perplexity. But after this, folks, go and have a try of Perplexity and really go to town on it and see what you can do if you haven't used it already. I promised it has a significant chance of changing your life. It's certainly changed mine. One of the other things that we will teach you to do within the coaching is we will teach you how to personify, how to create personas. So if you're wondering what's in the mind of an investor, a particular investor or a group of investors, or the difference between what one group of investor is looking for and what another group is looking for, whatever you want to find out within the mind of investors, because investors are publishing and they're blogging and they've got stuff on, AI can find that and can write you a persona. You can ask the AI, what are its pain points? Yeah, what are the minimum requirements to be included in the fund? Yeah, what are the things that it does like these investors don't like? Whatever your questions about whatever these investors are thinking, yeah, you can build that into a persona, and that will then help you plan your messaging, which is, obviously as well as actually creating content, we can show you how to do message planning, and how that all gets we can move from the research to the personification, into the messaging, into the creation, but also what's not to be sniffed at, especially now ChatGPT has released a reasoning model, which is called O1 Preview. Yeah, it's really, really good at analyzing data. So it will spot trends in huge big data sets, yeah, that we never could. Previously, you needed specialist financial tools, and don't get me wrong, some specialist financial tools are out there and they are great to use. If you're using them already, they're fantastic. But actually, the general purpose models, ChatGPT in particular with the O1 Preview, is excellent at analyzing and finding hidden trends in data, and then you can use other tools to visualize that data as well. Again, all of this, whereas no more staring through spreadsheets trying to work out what the answer is, trying to spot the trends, whatever that data is. If it's words, you can do it in words. Obviously, if it's numbers, it's really good at analyzing those numbers and spotting the things that perhaps we wouldn't. And ultimately as well, we can also show you how to automate tasks. So if there are low skill tasks that you often do, yeah, maybe that is writing a newsletter to your shareholders, but you've got a structure, the kind of content that's going to be in there, where the content is. We can actually, even rather than having to go and do the prompts, we can show you how to set that up on a monthly basis, that it all runs. Yeah, and what you get, yeah, is a link to a document with a draft in for you to work on. You don't even have to do the prompting. We can take, if it's regular stuff, yeah, that follows a format. We can even take away the prompting bit, and all you'll need to be doing, you can just learn how to, check your inbox. There's the document, up it booms, and you can start doing the edit. So that's a very quick glimpse at automations in terms of the workflows and blueprints that are increasingly coming online. So in terms of how will we get that information to you, how will we coach? Well, all of the coaching that we do at Edison, like this, we're here today. Yeah, this could be a coaching session, and to a small degree, I hope that I have taught you something. But everything is delivered live and online by a coach. I lead that coaching team at Edison. So certainly in the first instance, most of you, if you take us up on this offer, yeah, will experience me giving you that coaching. But the difference is that there are two options. We will be running a public course where if you're just one person, two people, and you want to come on and just learn a general AI for IR, we'll be launching a public course in the new year. However, what we really like doing is working with you and your teams, yeah, finance teams in sort of groups of 6 or more. And if we're doing that, we can absolutely tailor the course to fit your exact requirements. So what we do is we deep dive into the roles that you've got, the tasks that you do, yeah, and we audit all of that, and then we put together a bespoke course. So all of the things that are taking you a lot of time at the moment, yeah, and that are high or a high value, we'll work out how AI can assist you, so AI can make the most impact, and then we'll coach you on doing that. We'll have group sessions. We'll also have tutor groups and individual one-to-ones as part of that program, so we can set some objectives in terms of the things that you want to achieve through the training, and then be absolutely clear by the end of the training that you've got the skills and your behaviors have changed and you've saved yourself. And we are working with some teams at the moment where we're saving them a day a week, and that they're then able to say, right, so here's, with that efficiency, I'm now able to do these things I couldn't do before, and I can do these things at a much higher quality. So you do get to see really visible, measurable gains by the ends of it. And as the slide says, look, no skills are required. If you think that you're not a super user and you're looking at the way that I've whizzed around and done different things today, it's okay. That's just because I've done it a lot. You don't need any other skills than to be able to use a computer. You won't be the first people. ICL Group have been through this training with us. They've really, kind of like, you can read that feedback. We loved working with Peggy and her team. It's made a big difference. And there are many other clients that we're working with that are seeing those upticks again, often saving a day a week. Of course, Edison has enlisted the best partnerships on this. There's a company called the AI Institute. Mary Rose Lyons, whose features there, was the founder. Lots of coaches within there, but Mary Rose is really well recognized as kind of a leader in this area. She's top voice in AI on LinkedIn, etc. So that's my main presentation. Obviously, I hope that you will take those next steps, arrange a one-to-one, and discuss what might work for you and your team. Obviously, if you've got any questions at all, now would be a good time to put them in the Q&A. I don't know if also you can raise your hand, or we can enable people. But really happy to take questions as well. So the first question that I've got is here is from Ilana Holzman. Do you do this work with non-public info? So absolutely not. Okay, so there are various ways that you can make this private. Yeah, the ultimate way is you can load an LLM, an AI, yeah, onto your own server. Yeah, and it can happen away from the internet, and then absolutely you can give it all the information that you share. It's just like having it in your environment. And that sounds big and expensive, but a lot of the models now run on an ordinary laptop. That will be your server. Yeah, so there's no reason why all of us, yeah, can't run it privately if we need to, and we don't want to use those public models. Obviously, it's more expensive, but it's a really worthwhile investment. So that's at one end of the scale. However, in terms of, whilst obviously, if we're talking about, privileged information, that it's about the next quarter's results, yeah, you need to make sure they definitely don't go anywhere near anything public. However, there are lots of steps you can take to make sure your data isn't shared. So if it's slightly less critical than that, yeah, then absolutely there are ways of saying, yeah, do not train on this data. Keep this data within me. The Notebook LM system that I showed you from Google completely guarantees that it doesn't go anywhere outside that environment. And whilst I wouldn't trust that enough to say, next quarter's results can be analysed on it before we've released into the public, because that would be a disaster. Yeah, most other things that aren't market sensitive, you can trust it to use it. So again, it's just part of the training will cover the ethics of usage, the legals of usage, because obviously we've got the EU AI Act coming into force in February of next year. And so all of the training always covers data privacy, ethics, morality, and legals. So we've got a little bit of time left. Are there any other questions that anyone has? Okay. Well, everyone, really do hope that we're here from you. I'm sure you've seen the offer. So if you do want to get in touch, all you got to do is register interest today, and we'll give you 10% off. We don't have to finish a deal today, but if you register interest today, we'll make sure you get that 10% off. One more question just come in from George. George, is AI disintermediating Edison's coverage since clients can do it for themselves? Well, no, George, not in any way, shape, or form, because what the AI cannot do is write research. Yeah, I mean, it can gather all the data that's out there, it can analyze that, and then it can produce a report. But we still need the human in the loop. The analyst is absolutely critical. What I just did was I took an analyst report and I turned it into many, many different content formats. Yeah. But I couldn't have asked the AI to produce a report as good as Russell's. Yeah. It would not be capable of doing that. Once you give it the simulation data, it can then change it into many different formats, but it still cannot effectively write the primary research. So no, absolutely not. What it may do slightly is people may use Perplexity or ChatGPT to amalgamate the research we write and get a synthesis of it, and so they might consume some of our content on those systems, and that will be a trend going ahead. Just like Google returns those results for us, we are already featuring in Perplexity, we're already featuring in Google with our content. Yeah, AI has recognized us as a source, so it will quite often if an investor is asking a question, it will bring back our research, and in that sense you might say that we've been disintermediated, but not much really more than more than was true within Google. And also the great thing about Perplexity and actually ChatGPT is it will give references to the original files as well, so you can go and click on and read all of it, or you just continue to ask it questions and it gives you the answers. So in essence, George, slightly more than before, but not too much. Natalie, are there any other AI tools you would recommend IROs to look into other than ChatGPT and Notebook LM? Absolutely, there's an absolute bunch. Look, I'm not going to go through them all today, but Gamma for making presentations is one of them, and there are so many. However, what we focus on with the coaching is really finding out what you are doing and then recommending the best tool for that. And we're also finding that actually giving people things like with note takers. So note takers are, again, they're an absolute boon. If you've got a note taker on, it writes a transcript, never upload the names, so you have to redact. But it's very quick to redact those things in Word. Just you know how to do that, yeah, and upload that for the analysis. And so by having meeting notes with investors suddenly go whoosh, and you can also then compare different meetings and make sure you're picking up on lots of nuances you might have missed that your own note taking won't have kept up with. And you can also ask it to look for the buy signals to help you kind of work out which investors you should maybe concentrate more on. And all of that we'll have in the public course, and we'll also obviously do that when we do bespoke courses for teams. So there are a huge bunch of resources, but the point is trying a couple within a category, because different people click with different ones, but also having some standard apps that will do a lot of them, so we're not spending $20 here, $150 here a month. Yeah, it's really working out which universe is going to bring you the biggest benefit for the smallest cost. And normally we end up with 5 to 6 apps for a team, that hopefully cost no more than £200 per seat per month. But again, if you just want to start out with ChatGPT and experiment with what that can do, the paid version is very well worth investing in. And also the pro version for Perplexity is great. And if you ever did want to do image generation, then Midjourney would be our standard favorite. It really, if you're in business, if you're using it as an IRO, Midjourney, for my money, if you need to generate images, absolutely does the best job. Well, look, we're nearing towards 1:15, so final call for questions. But if nothing else appears in my line of vision in the next 3 seconds, I shall say thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you coming. Really keen to talk to you further. And at the very least, I hope I've satisfied some of your curiosity and maybe even given you some ideas about what AI can do for you. Really looking forward to connect properly, shortly. And don't forget, 10% off if you get in touch today. Thank you for your time, everyone. Really appreciate it.